It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Magical day to all. Welcome to Divas That Care Network. I am Joyce Benning, and I will be your host for this magical, robust lifestyle show. I would like to thank each one of our listeners that is listening to this podcast on the numerous different platforms. I am so very grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. And you are all in for one magical show today, as I have with me my amazing, beautiful diva, Ann Klossing. And her and I are going to share with you about allowing. Oh, wow. Will this be a magical show? And with that, Ann, would you please introduce yourself to our listeners today?
Thank you so much, Joyce. It's always a pleasure to be here and talking with you. And we could talk all day. And that day will come when we meet at some point in time, and I will cherish that moment. So who am I? I am an author and a channeler and a spiritual guide for those people who really want to get intimate with their soul and lead a soul-led life. And I always have to pinch myself that I get to do this type of work. And it hasn't been easy for me to accept this gift. When you're a channel and living in a very rural area that is very Christian rooted, it can be a challenge when you say you're a channeler. So I often don't talk about it on a local level. So I do get to talk about it on a global level. And that's just me and all of my paradigms that I have to work through. So it is my pleasure to be here today.
Oh, how beautiful. And yes, I can totally relate to what you're saying about being a channeler and spiritual guide and in a smaller rural community. Yeah, I hear you completely. So this is what's exciting. We get to share with the whole world now about allowing and what the angels want us to bring for the universe to hear today. So how would you like to start on sharing about allowing?
That is something that when we tuned in, I think last time we talked about maybe doing a meditation. And since that I have been gifted a cold from my grandson, a change of season cold, I'm not feeling up to the energetics of meditation today. So I asked, and allowing was the word that came up. So just to kind of give you an idea on how I channel, it's sometimes I do hear words, but it's more of a thought. And it's realizing that it is not my personality and that it is coming from a higher place. So when I'm actually channeling, I kind of have to just, it would be like sitting in an auditorium and just sitting in the back row and watching a speaker. And that's kind of what I have to do, is just kind of get out of the way and sort through the thoughts and the thoughts that are mine. And because sometimes my personality likes to butt in. So I just have to figure out, which is theirs and which is mine. So allowing is challenging. If you're a fixer and you like to fix people's problems, allowing can be very challenging. So what I am getting the little jingle in my ear is the law of free will. And I know I've talked about this law a lot, but the law of free will is to be, do, or have anything in this lifetime. You can be who you want to be, do what you want to do, have what you want to have. And the mindful part of the law of free will is to realize that it is not your job to think or feel or speak or act on another's behalf. So you have one mind that is connected to the Almighty, the Infinite, and it is your personality that can muddy the waters, so to speak, when it comes to relationships, communication. And there's no wrong or right to it, but realize that everything you think, everything you feel is your own experience. It's not someone else's. So if someone says something not nice to you, Or it's like, boy, where did that come from? Not to take that personally, because their words are their words and their feelings are their feelings. So it's the allowing it to be said, but allowing yourself to process it in a way that you can ask yourself, is it mine or is it theirs? So every time a word is spoken, it can be pretty easy. It's theirs. So if they say something nasty to you, it's whatever their energy is that they're in that you're feeling. And that's where shielding is very important, is shielding and knowing that it's not yours and to not take offense to it. So I think the concept of allowing is when I will use my daughter as an example. So as a parent, I allowed her to do a lot because of the experience. I allowed her to do things that I necessarily wouldn't want to do, but I knew she would learn from them. Mm-hmm. So as a parent, that could be hard to do. We don't want our children to get hurt. So her very first young man that entered her life, I did not care for him. I didn't like his personality. There was a whole lot of ego going on there, but I allowed her to figure it out for herself. I knew she was a bright young lady, and I allowed her that experience, and I don't even think it lasted 4 weeks. Maybe 2 months, maybe 8 weeks. I'll give her that. Maybe it went 8 weeks, but not that she would come back. She would say, well, Mom, you were right. Because we would have candid conversations and we would talk about red flags. This is what I see as a red flag, but you go do what you want to do. And she did pick up on those red flags and realize that this young man was totally controlling and totally overbearing, and she broke it off. So it's allowing. So for me today, it's allowing myself to have this head cold. Instead of fighting it, just allow it in, let it go through and let it pass out.
Yeah.
And pushing, and pushing ourselves and going to work when we're sick. And sometimes the best thing to do is to allow it to happen. Allow yourself the downtime because it's your body speaking to you. Mm-hmm. Slow down. It's time to just, contemplate, heal, and then regroup and recharge. So that's my take on allowing. How about you?
Oh, those were such beautiful examples because it is so true, especially like what you said about the cold. And it's your body's way of saying, maybe you need to just slow down a little bit and just get a little more rest because you have been pushing. And I felt that way. Sometimes aches. I'm like, well, why does this hurt? Well, it's your body's way of saying, hey, you're overdoing right now. Your plate is full. Just step back a little bit. So yeah, allowing like that is beautiful. And with your daughter, it brought back memories of my dad because he always said, I've raised you to this age. I've taught you from right from wrong. So he said, now it's your decision. So he was allowing me to make those decisions in life that maybe sometimes he didn't always agree with, but he still allowed it because he felt he had taught me right from wrong and was always there to pick up the pieces when I needed him to. So yeah, that to me is allowing, and allowing yourself to feel some of the emotions rather than try and block them. Let them flow through you. Because I mean, so much here lately, I have a deck of oracle cards and I get the word flow. And I've heard the angels say, just let it all flow. Just let it flow like the river does, or like the creeks do, the water does. Just let it flow easily out. So yeah. So that's some of the things comes to my mind when I think about allowing.
And it's really a fantastic tool. And even before I was spiritual, I believe that I did use it in like the workplace. And in a supervisory position, I would have some of my coworkers. I was, when I worked as a conservationist, we would get anywhere between 3 and 5 summer students a year. And that's a big job to keep 5 college students active. and get
Definitely.
them trained so that they can be professional and whatnot. And I had a couple that challenged me. And the office staff, the admin staff was starting to get on me. Aren't you going to do something about this? And I allowed it to go on for a while because I needed to gather my facts.
Hmm.
I can't just butt in when I don't know for myself. So sometimes allowing is a point of observation.
Yeah.
So allowing to fact gather, then make the decision or then do the disciplinary action as a supervisor. Because we all know that some people don't have boundaries, and some of these students did not have boundaries. And it was to the point where I allowed it to happen. I could gather it and then set the person down. And it was rewarding. I remember with one student that she was kind of like a bull in a china shop. It had to be her way or no way. And I had another gal who was very personable, just she'd make you laugh. And they were trying to work on a CRP job together and outline these areas. And then the other gal, the bull in the china shop, changed the outline of how they had this done. So student A went out with the farmer, they marked this area out, they were both in agreement. And then student B went back out and changed those flags. And student A was livid. She'd had it. She had her breaking point. So I had my opportunity. I allowed it to happen so that I had hard proof of this is an opinion. You know, you can do this job several ways. How you would mark this job out would be different than if I marked the job out or if student A marked the job out.
Hmm.
They're all right, every one of them. But I said, what you did was I said you did not make this farmable. So it was all these right-hand corners, jagged lines, nothing of flow that you talked about.
Yes.
And I sat her down, and there was then all the complaints that I had from the other people that had come to me over the last month. I had them all listed out in me, and I could have this conversation with her.
Hmm.
And I didn't mean to put the young lady to tears, but I did. I was just very matter of factly. It's like, these are choices. These are life choices. Little did I know that there was a lot of personal stuff going on. So
Hmm.
all that came to the surface. And after she left, because we were just about, I think, towards the end of her time to go back to school. And 6 months later, I got an email from her and thanking me. And I was like, wow, did this girl do a turnaround? I mean, all these things that came out, you know, it's like, you were right about this. And it's not about right or wrong. It's the perception
Hmm.
when we're in it, whatever it is for you, whether it's relationships or work issues, spousal, children, when we're in it, we can't see it. We cannot see the solutions. We can't find the solutions because we're either pissed off, angry, upset. And when you're in those lower vibrating emotions, you can't see the easy stuff. And that's where the allowing, when you can sit back and allow, it allows you to take, it allows you to take a step back or two or three or four, or maybe high up on a bluff where you can look down and see the vastness of all the opportunities out of one situation.
Hmm.
So there is a skill. And I always say practice. And that's what the angels will tell you too, is practice, practice, practice.
Yes.
So awareness and allowing and deciding, they're all so close together.
Hmm. Oh, I so agree with you. And about being in something and being so involved in it. And I think a lot of times we're in our minds during that time. We are not going, I feel I'm not going back down to my heart to be able to look at other options because my mind is so busy running on what you're so deep into that you can't even see any other options or cannot see maybe what's happening. And it's when you do take that time to step back and go into your heart and find those times. And then the other thing that comes to my mind, I know the listeners will only get the audio of this, but Anne has her little dog sitting on her lap. And it is so beautiful because in my heart, it's saying she is allowing that dog to be part of this podcast. Whether you guys see him or not, his energy is here. His energy is vibrating. It's giving me the chills as I talk about it because I can just feel the energy from that little dog vibrating through this podcast also. And it's thanks to Anne that she allowed the dog to have a part of this podcast. So that's just something that came to my mind.
She's a little needy. I was gone for 5 days on a trip, and my mom came down and took care of. She's a little rat terrier that I think she has her eye on a squirrel up in the tree. And then Max, he's a pit bull terrier, and they were very needy last night. They've been very clingy today. I can't get out of their sight. So it's good to be home and good to be back, and everybody's safe and happy.
Yes,
But
yes.
one more thing is as you practice, don't get discouraged with yourself. Don't do what I do. and you become hard on yourself. And it's very easy for me to do that. I learned that as a kid, as a young child, and that's a habit that's I'm aware of now. So when I'm in it, and then all of a sudden I'm in it for more than 3 days, and it's going on maybe a week or 2 weeks, every time you're aware that you're doing it, pat yourself on the back, give yourself a hug, tell yourself that you love you, and allow yourself to see that. And each time, and what I've noticed is that span of time becomes shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. So your awareness is like a muscle. Use it. It's daily exercise. And we can look at it as exercise. And if you're like me, exercising is kind of boring. I don't do it like I should. It's that grace again. And you just practice.
Yeah.
And it is work, but it doesn't have to be. So if you can make it fun and give yourself some grace and say, oh yeah, and that's cool that you noticed that. So let's sit with this a while. What are we noticing? And that's the skill that I learned from Mary Morrissey, is notice what you're noticing.
Oh, I love that, because the angels have told me so many times, don't be so hard on yourself. Recognize that you are seeing this emotion, or you are feeling this emotion, or you are feeling what's happening, and you're noticing that maybe you're reacting in the old way, and that's not the way you want to. You have made progress because you are now being aware of that, and you can allow it to flow through. So that is, oh yeah, that just hit right to my heart, because I've heard that so many times on the angels, because I think as women and as caregivers like we are hard on ourselves. We're always trying to look for something and not giving ourselves the credit that we need to.
And if you're into acronyms, here's the 20-year government employee where we lived in a sea of acronyms. You could do AAD, or you could do ADA, and reverse them. So first you got to become aware. You're aware of what's going on. You can allow that experience to consume you, or you can become unaware and pause. So you can become aware and then decide if you're going to allow this to continue. Or you can do awareness, allow it to unfold so that you can gather the information that you need so that you can decide to take a heart-inspired decision and then act on that.
Yes.
So AADA, there's all kinds of little acronyms that you can. And when it comes from the heart, that is called inspired action. So when you allow, that can give you some time to pause and breathe and think about it. You know, ask yourself, what would love do here? What would my soul do here? What would God do here? Those type of questions. What would my angel do here? Just kind of sit with that. I'm an automatic writer. That's how I really connect. So you can doodle too. I have got a client who's a doodler. It's really cool. As she becomes the doodler, it might be hearts or flowers, and it's a continuous flow with her, but there's no rules to doodling. And she'll fill a page with just that pen. And then all of a sudden, after 5-10 minutes of connecting with that pen on paper and her doodling, the information comes through loud and clear, and then she's able to journal. And it has been absolutely amazing what has come through for her. So happy for her, because a lot of times with the work that comes through from your soul, it is contemplation and sitting down with pen and paper and asking yourself, what do I really want? What do I want to do with my life? Where do I want to go? What are the possible solutions to the problem that you're in? And allow that pen to flow. Because as you think, then you will give yourself a space of time, because you're calm. You're sitting at the desk or table or outside with your favorite journal or your favorite pen. And as you allow yourself to relax, that becomes the infinite side of you. And that's where creativity and your true authenticity comes through, is when you can relax and be in that peaceful frame of mind. If you're down in anger and frustration and overwhelm, you are not connected with your soul. You are not connected with the infinite. You are connected with the angels always in your soul. But to really hear them, you need to come in and out of that and be in a peaceful state, in a calm state, to where you can start to hear those hints and clues. And again, with angels, the caveat is you must ask. So angels do not have free will. They are more than willing and eager to help you, but you must ask.
Yes.
And then it comes in thought, and sometimes just in your thinking, you've asked. You may not realize it, but they're like, oh, all over it. And there comes the allowing them in, allowing that information to come through to you. And if they can't come through to you, then it may come through in another format. Maybe someone you're talking to says something, and it's like, where did that come from? And that's really fun, was when that person says, I don't know why I just said that. That's angel intervention. Poor guy. And that's really cool. And it happens because it's like, ooh, sting. No, I need to do that now.
You were spot on. I needed to hear that today.
Yes. And I think I've mentioned this before, is that when the angels are having a difficult time getting my attention because I'm so in it, whatever I think is catastrophic at that point in time, sometimes they'll send my dad in. And it's like and that's usually with like a hawk, some type of that type of bird, either like a falcon, a hawk. If it's an owl, then I know it's coming from my grandmother's. But a hawk or an eagle, then it's like bullseye. It's like, got it. And I usually get a vision with it too. If I get locked eyes with a hawk, it's like then that vision comes through, and it's usually my dad.
Yeah.
With something, it's like, oh, I know I need to knock it off, don't I?
Oh, I can so relate, because my dad is the Redbirds. And I mean, I can just, the other night, it was actually dark out and I couldn't really see the color, but I saw the form of it and I knew it was a Redbird. There was no doubt in my mind. And I'm going, that's right, Dad, I got you.
Yeah.
So,
and
yeah.
in the springtime, it's Orioles with my dad. He used to feed the Orioles their little go-juice, and then the hummingbirds too. So it always got comical. If you were you were going to get sitting outside on my mom's patio, my dad would feed them so heavy that they would just dive bomb you. So it was comical because the Orioles are fighting for space and the hummingbirds are trying to get them out of there. So it was always comical.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Well, Anne, this time has gone so quickly, which I knew it would. It always does. You and, like you said in the beginning, you and I could chat for hours, and I will cherish the moment when we do meet in person and can chat for hours.
Yes.
And before we do close this show, would you please share with our listeners the best ways to connect with you?
The best way to connect with me, and if you're curious about me, I encourage you to go to my website. It talks about my channeling. And the collective consciousness that I refer to as we, that was the name that they gave me. It's like, really, I don't get a name like Esther Hicks and Abraham. Nope, it's we. And I've come to adore that because we are a collective. Everyone's connected. So that is we. It explains them a little bit. And then it really goes into depth about channel clearing and what I do to help people. And you can, I think it's the Work With Me tab. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can get on my email list. And I encourage you to do that because I will do written channels from we. I'll mix it up with the programs that I have coming up. And that is my email is ann@annclossing.com. You can also connect with me on Facebook. I have been a little lax on Facebook as far as daily input, but I used to do it every day, 7 days a week. So if you go to my profile, you'll see all these little, and go back for a few years, you'll see all of the daily insights that we would come out with. Some of them are pretty cool. It's good calendar material or Oracle card material. And then I also have a Facebook group. That's We Channel Conversations with the Infinite. You can just direct message me and to join. I think I do ask a few questions because it's a safe space. It's a safe space where I channel live every Friday morning. And it's a safe space for people to ask questions. But the easiest way to get a hold of me is my email, ann@annclossing.com. We've got some fun things out. The angel readings, that's one economical way to work with me. We can do channel clearings where I do a 1-hour session and I do a written letter to your soul ahead of that. And that takes some time for me. About an hour and a half is about a common one. Then we go over that letter and all the information that you need from your soul. Or if you really want to dive deep, we can do a mentorship together. So there's all ways you can work with me. And I would love to help you because when you get that information, you're shaving the years off that it took me. Mm-hmm. So you're quantum leaping just your communication with the infinite, but also your healing. I would say more importantly, the healing.
Oh, how beautiful. Thank you so much. And one more quick question so the listeners know you will return. Will you please return to Robust Lifestyles where you and I can chat some more?
I certainly will. I can't guarantee you if Matilda will join us again. It depends. She's, like I said, she's really needy right now.
Oh, that's awesome. Her energy's lovely. I love it. Well, may you and Matilda have a very magical day and magical times till you and I meet again on Robust Lifestyle Show.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Oh, thank you. And I want to thank all of our listeners for listening to this magical show with our amazing diva, Ann Clossing, and the energy of her little dog, Matilda. It is beautiful. Please share this show with your family and friends. Be sure to check out all the other hosts and their shows on divasthatcare.com. And remember, AAD, aware, allow, and decide. Let your heart do that experience, and it's an inspired action when it comes from your heart. Allow yourself to relax and be peaceful and calm to get into this state where you can hear the angels. And with that, I want to wish each of you a very, very magical day. Give your animals a great big extra hug and share all your love with them as they so deserve it. Until we connect again on Robust Lifestyles, stay strong and healthy.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.